Welcome to the Mojo for Musicians podcast from Manny Cabo Media, where we dig deep into today's top strategies to help you take your music career to the next level, along with real, raw, and uplifting conversations with industry professionals that are making moves, making a difference, and making the best versions of themselves to inspire you to do the same. And if you have a voice with a powerful message to share with the world, then head on over to tinyurl/Mojo Official Discord for the best community of voices in the metaverse. Support for the Mojo for Musicians podcast comes from Stedman, tools for the studio and beyond, because your voice deserves to be heard. Sennheiser, inspired by music. And Cranium, scientifically designed products for bald, shaved, and buzzed heads. So get your head in the game and own your dome. And now, here's your host, Manny Cabo. All right, guys, welcome to another amazing episode of Mojo for Musicians, the source of inspiration for my ecosystem of artists. And as always, I want to thank my sponsors at Stedman and Sennheiser and Cranium who make these shows possible. And to my amazing fans, of course, and supporters that give me the mojo to continue to create these episodes and get incredible guests like the ones I have on this show today. And believe me, this one's going to be fun-filled. It was pretty strategic as well on my part, and it always hits home because it's about collaborations and it's about community. And we all know that as a performer myself, my community of supporters and fans, it provides my sustenance. And my collaborations with respect to performing with other artists, songwriting, and help artists with their brands, through my photography provides another source of income, but also builds my community. Get where I'm going with this? So, as they say in the NHRA world, the tree has dropped the green. So, I've got to use all my racing puns here. I have no choice with these two guys on here, right? So, in this one corner, we have number 29 car and two-time NASCAR champion, bourbon aficionado. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, so let's just call him Obie, because that's what everybody knows him for. So, Obie, welcome to the show, brother.
Annie, it is a pleasure to be on your show. I've listened to a bunch of the episodes. Huge fan of your music as well. Very inspirational, positive-minded guys. So you're one of my people, dude. But thanks for having me.
Oh, dude, the pleasure's all mine. So you're the guy that was listening to my podcast. It's always good to meet the one guy listening to the podcast. This is fantastic. But in the other corner, we have hailing all the way from the Netherlands. I can't even pronounce it, so damn far away. He's a one-time engineer. Now he's turned crypto and Web3 and NFT guru. And I have to tell you, in all honesty, I really do believe this. I don't think he has a heart. I think he has an engine for a heart, because all this guy ever talks about is cars and hot rods and both these guys. So it's no surprise why I have him here paired together. Motorcycles, essentially anything that can drive. Full pun intended, of course, there's a reason why I did that. So let's bring onto the stage the creator of the Drive Coin, Mr. Gino Nagtegaal. I think I said that right?
Yes. You said it right, man. You said it right. I'm very, very happy to be here. It's a pleasure. I love everything, cars, bikes, racing, and I'm very happy to be here with you and with Obie.
Awesome. And I feel like a proud parent, because even before I hit record on this thing, you guys were like, well, this is the first time I'm meeting Gino. This is the first time I'm meeting Obie. But yet there's a lot of, transactional value going on behind the scenes, and I feel like a proud parent. And this wasn't part of my questioning, right? But I have to ask both of you guys, where did this childhood playfulness and fascination with cars, when did it turn into this unwavering passion that you both exude? Because I don't know shit about cars. I used to play with Tonka trucks. That was the extent of my childhood. So, Obie, you first. Where did it come from, brother?
Well, it started just like my son now. He's 3. I had a bunch of Matchbox cars, and when I could sit up, I was able to watch the TV. My father was an avid racer himself, second generation for me. He was a drag racer. I decided that I was going to turn left in addition to drag race, but it started young with go-karts. And when I turned 16, my parents were able to sign for me to get a NASCAR license. And since then, man, there's been no looking back. The dreams started young. I'm blessed to be able to continue to push forward and try and follow those dreams. But it started as early as I can remember. Baseball was cool. Football was called Manny. I know you're a baseball player. That was great. I loved it too. My New York Mets, we're not the best, but
Wait a second now. Wait a second now. They're actually doing pretty damn good this year. But hey, I get it. And now, Gino, you brother. I mean, because you are, bro. You're like one of those. I don't know, like car aficionado fiends. Like every other word out of your car is, dude, Lambo or fast and speed. But talk to me. Where did that come from?
Well, for me, it all started with the age of 3 when I started dirt bike racing. And that was my passion. Like, that was my life until the age of 17. I had some major crashes. I can't do that sport anymore because my knee fell, and it's just not healthy for me to do. Then, yeah, you need to have some adrenaline somewhere. And I turned into cars where I had a couple of friends starting fixing up old clapped out BMWs and start drifting them at night on the streets, and then started appreciating more the art behind cars. So I'm the kind of guy who likes the late 70s, early 80s style cars. That's really where my passion and my heart is. The old Porsches, the old BMWs, but also the old Chevys, and really the Buicks from the old days, the Pontiacs, like early 60s. I love that, and I love the stories behind them. I can respect new cars. I drive a 5 Series, a new 5 Series as a daily driver, but my heart is with the art and the stories behind the old cars. And that's where also my passion for racing comes back, because after behind every race car driver, such as Obie, is a whole story. He just told us about his father was a racer. The cars, the old race cars, have such amazing stories. Yeah, if they could talk, man, that would be amazing. But yeah, that's where my passion comes from.
It's so true, man, because I look at those classic reels, you get the emulsion. You could barely make out the image, but all you hear is, it's insane, man. Right? Look at Obie, he's got his hands up. You guys are such car nerds, and I love it. And that's exactly why I paired you guys on this particular episode. And it's pretty cool how large this world is, but how small it is. Because I met you, Obie, through my other buddies at the Dadcast, another incredible podcast. If you haven't checked out Dadcast, check that out. That's how I met Obie, and I got to learn his backstory. And Gino, thankfully, because of his knowledge of the Web3 space, I was introduced to that whole new world, and he made this transition for me that much smoother. So it goes to show you how amazing collaborations can be. And yet here I am creating an episode based on a union, all right, of their passions, essentially. But here's the thing I want to take away for all you guys is that it's all relative. I created this podcast to serve my community of artists, but every journey, right, every tactic, every technique that leads to success is all relative. It's applicable in any industry. And their successes both have attributed to their personal growth in their respective communities. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about community as a specific topic, right? And for me in the entertainment space, it isn't always easy. There's tons of egos. There's varying creative and strategic postures. There's building audiences and fans. And dude, for those of you who don't know or are just looking to delve into it, I don't care if it's cars, I don't care if it's music or whatever, it's a lot of work. It's hard work. So the question I'm going to pose to both of you guys, what has been the biggest challenges that you've both endured with respect to building your own communities? Gino, I know you're like me, you have your own coin, you have your own currency, building your communities. It's an arduous task, I get it. And you, Obie, you're in and out daily, driving that car, hoping to win, right? But keeping those fans engaged.
Well, man, that's a great question, Manny. I try to be a better person. Start with Obie, Brian, the person. I try to be a better person than I was yesterday. I try and stay positive, try and love my life, my family, and that is the driving factor. But you did mention the fans, and for me, I started out as a kid. I could still remember at my home track with my fingers in the chain link fence, just watching and studying every one of those drivers. I know you probably the same. I've heard you belt out some Whitesnake. You probably looked at David Coverdale and was like, that's it, So the hardship was for me was, yes, I wanted to be one of those drivers. I wanted to be the hometown hero, but how do I be my own best version of that? And it took some time. It really, children was the big factor for me. Once I had children, I knew exactly who I was. It was they were looking up to, and it became my force. But again, the fans, because it brings me back to that exact point in my life where I had not driven a race car yet. I had no idea the work, the time, the marketing, the research, the physical ability, all of that it took. All I knew is it was the direction. That was the arrow that was flying through the air, and that was me. That's where I was going. So the biggest challenge was, you can drive a car, you can hold a steering wheel, but building that team of positive, like-minded people around you, like you say, your ecosystem, building that solid foundation to raise up everything I've done without a guide, without a handbook. Finding that and doing that myself was one of the hardest things that I've ever done. But now I've got an amazing group of people around me. I've got a fan base at every track we go to. I now have got a killer fan base in the Netherlands that just popped up on my social media feed like that. I love them to death. Those people are hardcore.
You do, bro. You do.
I know, it's great, and that drives me, man. I get in that car and I got a million things going through my mind, but all of those people that are putting their excitement and faith and hope into, we're going to do well this race, that's what keeps me going. Seeing the people in the stands, and then coming through the turns during pace laps when I'm behind the pace car and we're getting ready to go, and just out the corner of my eye, I see that little boy or little girl with their hands up on the chain link fence, man. It's a full circle deal. It still gives me butterflies every race. I don't care what
You're
happens,
giving me butterflies, that's man. You're giving me it is.
Right? Man, that's the goal. That's the game. That's what we do it for, man.
It is. It's such a visceral feeling, isn't it, though? But it's so gratifying at the time. And yeah, it truly is.
It is. I can have a bad night. Like this past race, I mean, everybody saw it. We were in the lead. We were out 12 car lengths, and we had a mechanical part. We had a radiator cap that cost about $10, $12 go bad. It took a win away from us. Wow. And the end of that night, there was little kids that came up to me, "Hey, that was great." And that makes your night. We didn't win the race, but we impacted someone in a positive light. And they're going to spend the next week or two, can't wait to get back to the racetrack, because that 29 car, that drive coin 29 car is headed to the front. That's what it's about, man.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great story, man. It truly is. Looking out, because at that point you feel like you have this responsibility, right? You don't want to let these people down. They're investing, right?
You want to talk pressure, dude? It's pressure.
It really is. Gino, now for you, brother, building your community, the drive community, you've done incredible things, man. You have certainly taken it to new heights. I know it's a challenge for you, but you're like me, man. You welcome the challenge, but that's not to say that sometimes you're like, oh, what have I done here? What did I get myself into, man? Talk to me. Share that.
Yeah, man. That's true. That's true all the way around. It's a lot of work. It's hard building. It's trying to get that one fan every day, that one person every day. The easiest part for me, though, is I've built this community because I love cars and I love everything that evolves around cars. So I want to collect people all around the world that love cars, right. And we just talk cars, we talk bikes, we talk racing. That's where a guy like Obie came into play. It was very, very cool to be able to have our coin on the Nascar. Like, that was just huge. The whole ecosystem, we were all ecstatic that we did that,
right?
And we were all rooting for Obie every race. We are trying to get it live also in our service. So yeah, it is hard work. It's very satisfactional also when you get a lot of people that believe in you. You can almost see them as friends. We're only 2 months live now. But if we see the strong backing that we have and the strong people that stand there and believe in our cause, because it's very easy, and I think for you too, Manny, but for you too, Obie, if you are the big race car driver that wins all the NASCARs, if you are the singer that sells out stadiums, the fans will come. But when you are on that early stage, that people believe in your journey, believe in your passion, believe in where you want to go, that's where the real power and the real satisfaction comes in. And that's where we at right now with Drive. And that gives me so much drive to move forward. And I can't let these people down. And it's the same thing with the little kid there on the racetrack. I got all those people in my community and I can't let them down. So we just keep on going.
Yeah, man. And it's so true. It's the ones that jump on early that you truly have this deep connection with, right? Because they were there when you were nobody. I know those people and I embrace those. I really, if I could give them all virtual hugs, I would. And those are the individuals out there that leading up to this point, leading up to your next victory, Obie, leading up to your next inclusion into your community, Gino, are the ones that pave the way for you. So there's always a special connection for those, and you need those. You know, those are the super fans. Those are the cheerleaders, right? That tribe that you always want.
The OGs.
Yeah, the OGs, right? Exactly. So that's a great segue into my next question. So how does it feel working with you guys? Now, you guys have been paired, right? And I like to be proud of this moment because it was because of me. I introduced you guys because I knew there was this amazing chemistry between both you guys, and I knew it would flourish into something truly amazing. Now, how does it feel working juxtaposed to somebody who believes in you as much as you believe in that person? Because there's nothing better. I live vicariously through this journey with both you guys, you know, looking at your car, Obie, and seeing the drive sticker, and then Gino and everyone responding to your tweets. Like, we're all cheerleaders for each other. That's an amazing experience. I wish there was more love in this world because it just feels so gratifying for me. So explain to me, guys, how does it feel? Where is it going? Where do you see it going? I have to ask.
You know, just like anything, it starts small. I've got a large fan base in Taoyuan, Taiwan. I met some folks there and worked with them years ago, and I got people that pull for me all. I'm blessed, man. It's cliche to say that sometimes, but I've been able holding a steering wheel and turning left, as crazy as it is, has taken my brand and my friendships across the globe. And I'm a nobody from nowhere. I just do something different on the weekends. And it's been able to have my connection reach so many places like Gino and like my friends there in Taiwan. Like I said, you know, it's special to me because when you have people that believe in you, you show up with confidence. When I roll into that track, I'm confident that our team has what it takes to win. And that's all that really matters, because you can have a little bit more confidence than the guy that's 2 inches off of you, and he may have a better car, but I've got the confidence tonight. It's my race. And that's because of the people that are pulling for me. You know, that's how I feel about it.
I have to agree with you. I will take passion over talent any day of the week because
100%.
somebody, you cannot teach passion. You can't. You got to have it. Someone with passion will figure out a way to win the race, because like you said, you were in the lead, right? But then now you're at the mercy of a small little cap, right? That just blew. Stuff like that happens. But yet you were in the race, right? You made it to the finish line. And sometimes some of the most insignificant things can skew your path if you're not truly focused, if you're not truly passionate about the task at hand. I've seen it happen. I've seen the best voices just crumble in the light of pressure. It's a testament to you guys, both, because there's a lot of preparation that goes on behind the scenes. How many times do you have to go over that circle over and over?
It'll eat at you. Yeah.
It really will. But here's the thing. If you have a passion for it, you never get sick of it. This is who you are. It's an extension of who you are. That's the difference. And I remember learning this when I was working at Apple. Steve Jobs said, if you do not do something that you are utterly passionate about, the inkling will always be nudging at you to quit, to give up, let that go. Are you insane? Right? And that's why I see both you guys. And Gino, when you talk about cars, when you post about your cars, when you talk about Obie, when you talk about the drive coin, I can feel the energy. It's very, very important. And the reason why I'm focusing so much attention on that aspect of it, anybody who's listening into this podcast, do something you love, but do it for yourself. Don't do it to impress anybody. Don't do it for the accolades. Don't do it for the financial gain. Do it for the sole purpose that if you had none of those elements attached to it, you would still wake up and give it your all day in and day out. So I appreciate both you guys for being so transparent with your responses. It's great.
Manny, I've got a mentor of mine. I'm going to throw his name out here because I'm going to make him listen to this. His name is Lenny Baticki. He took me under his wing years ago when I was just starting to really perform in the car, but was struggling with growing myself. And he told me, Obie, you're one of the first people that I've ever seen that has got an absolute relentless passion for what you do. And that the two words have stuck with me. And I wake up and it comes into my mind that if you really have a relentless passion for something, man, you're living. You are living and you know what it's about. You know, that's a good feeling. It really is.
Yeah, it truly is because at that point, it doesn't matter what place you're in. It doesn't matter the naysayers. I call them the crickets because I always use the analogy. When you hear crickets, right? Right? They're loud, they're obnoxious, but what happens when you get close to them, right? They shut up. Right? They get really, really quiet. So that's how I usually, define my naysayers. But none of that for me has ever affected me. Quite the contrary. I use that as fuel to my fire. See what I did? That fuel to the fire. But it's really, really important to acknowledge that because it's going to pay double the dividends than if you just do something for the money. Now, Gino, how did it feel when I introduced you? I love these backstories because this is for me. This is the golden stuff. Like, how did it feel when you guys talk to one another? Like, and Obie, for you, I love a good success story. I can't help it. That's why I think karma has been great for me because it's never always been about me. I love seeing relationships flourish. I love seeing amazing success stories go to that next level. And I don't need any credit. I do it unconditionally because I think that's my purpose in life, to make these amazing connections, but also to have an amazing podcast. I've got to be a little greedy there, right? But you guys offer such fresh perspectives with respect to your own industries. But my next question goes to both of you guys is, where do you guys see the future of the drive coin? Where do you see the future of NASCAR for you, Obie? Let's say, you know what, you win a couple of races, right? And I think I know what the answers are going to be. And this is kind of relevant to my final question, which is, what's your mojo? But what's after racing? Let's think 10 years ahead, right? Where do you see Obie? Is it behind the wheel of a car still, or is it your own little empire? Are you going to be teaching? Are you going to be entertaining your sponsors, commercials? What? Where do you see yourself?
You're, as a driver, you become expendable. The temperature is 140, 145 degrees in the car. Crashes don't get any easier this close to 40 years old. So you've got a shelf life when you're doing this, and I understand that. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy seeing others succeed that have the relentless passion. I would love to, although I will never force any of my children to do something they don't want. As big as my little man is into it, and the time he spends in the garage with me asking questions at 3 years old, I see him gravitating that way. If that's where we go, that's great. I become his mentor. If not, I've been mentored by a couple of people. I mentioned Lenny. Another guy's name is Deke McCaskill. He's one of the greatest drivers in our region of the country. And he helps me weekly. We talk daily. What are we doing to better ourselves? What are we doing with the car? How are we going to attack this race? I'd love to find myself an up-and-comer and give everything that I've learned, because again, there's no handbook to this, but boy, have I taken notes.
I love that.
Let me open myself up to a young guy who has it, who wants to do this, and who really wants to push. That's where I see myself, because again, I'm not going to be able to do this for too much longer. We're going to get it while we can, but man, that would be a way to keep me in the industry, keep me at the track, and help it. So either with my son or someone in the future.
I'm glad that you said that too, because I love being on stages, man. I've played in front of a bartender, and I've also played in front of a sold-out 60,000 capacity crowd. But the cool thing is, I could see myself someday, right, finding that. And there's so many movies with this background story. And I'm such a ham for these type of movies. Like, I would love to find individuals who've got that X factor, right? And it. You're like, oh, that kid reminds me of me. Look at all that ego. Look at all that talent, right? He's going to be a tough one to deal with. But deep down inside, with your personal journeys, how much knowledge you could instill in this person, right? And knowing that they can be great at something, that I savor those moments. And I know I will. I know inevitably that is going to be the next journey for Manny Cabo, is inspiring somebody to say, you know what? I can do this. I'll provide the tools for you. Now you go out and just crush it. But you got to provide the passion. Gino, you.
Yeah, so for me, it's easy. I want to sponsor Brian's son, so I'm done.
Dude, that's easy.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so for DriveCoin in the future, I want to be the biggest car community on the internet. That's why I choose to build all of this on Web3 with the cryptocurrency, with the possibility for NFTs, with all of that. We are going that direction. I know it's not adopted by the majority of people yet, I am in no hurry to make $1 million myself anytime soon. So I'm just going for the ride. I'm going for this ride. I believe in everything that we do with Drive. We're bringing people together all around the world. We're not bringing only race car drives together. We also bring people
Yeah.
together. We got new people coming in from Thailand, and they don't have cars. They have dreams about cars, and they love to see us talk about the cars. And we share dream cars. They share pictures. They
Now, hold on. I got to stop you all. You're making a really valid point. I have to stop you there, and I'll tell you why that's so important. Growing up, right, in the 80s, I grew up, I'm really proud to say, I grew up at the best decade of music. I don't care what people think. That's my personal opinion. We grew up at the real rock stars, right? And all we had, Gino, all we had were magazines and some photographs that certain photographers took at concerts. We didn't have YouTube.
yeah.
Christ, we barely could afford tickets. And, if we got a ticket, we'd have to wait 5 days around a whole line around a block to go to a show. And I remember buying that ticket, and it would be sitting on top of my shelf collecting dust for 3 months. But every day I'd be like, "Mwah, oh, I can't wait to see 3 months. I get to see ACDC." Right? So believe me, here we're very privileged, right? But we take those things for granted, whereas other people in different countries are like, "Oh, just a picture?" That's why NFTs are going to be so huge. And by the way, I see a huge collaboration with both of you here. I don't know, hint, 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 NFTs, the Obie car and the drives, but that's my personal opinion. But it's very important that you highlighted that because, yes, visual images as a photographer are huge. They tell a story, and the better the photograph, the better the story. So I couldn't agree with you more, man.
Yeah, and the beautiful part about that is it's touchable, and that's why you want to have
Yeah.
this in real community, so they can interact with the owners of the car. You can have special things. It's
Wow.
so gives so much gratitude, and also with Obie. We are getting so close to a NASCAR driver. So for us, that was insane. I remember with the question you asked before, for me, that point that I could call Obie, like you gave me his number and we texted and we had an appointment. I was,
Yeah.
damn, what
It's surreal, right?
I
It's very
was sweating and I got to call with Obie. And then he said, yes, he believed in the story. He believed in what we were building. And that was the first time, like we were live, I believe, for 2 weeks. I wasn't barely talking to anyone about it. And then someone that you never met before, believing in you, in your project, like you can't fail them, man. You can't. You just can't. So yeah, here we are.
That's awesome. Well, listen, before we go, we're wrapping this up. I got a couple more minutes. Obie, how can people find you? How can people know a little bit more about what you do, tie into the NASCAR world? Go.
About all of our races are on flowracing.com, wherever I am. You can check them out. It's a subscription-based deal. At The Real Obie on every social media under the sun. We are going to be, and we're going to drop this here. I got something for you right now. We're going to start the web store next month. It's going to be therealobie29.com. Shirts, hats, stickers, banners, cups, anything you want, it's there. Very reasonably priced, but we're putting our name out there. We want everybody under the sun in the drive community to be wearing and rocking some 29 stuff. But
love it.
Besides that, we're here in North Carolina. You bump into me at the store, we'll talk racing. I'll tell everybody I know about DriveCoin and my other sponsors, Power Base, Audio Equipment, and Aviator Brewing Company. But man, this is a great ride to be on. I'm so glad that Gino has come on board, Manny, that you put us together. Little spot here, everyone, on the 26th of July. My man Manny's got a song coming out, so I'll be the first one to hit play on that when it streams, buddy. You know it's coming. Yeah. But again, I appreciate everything.
Thanks, Obie. Gino, your turn, brother. How do people find you if they want to know more about the DriveCoin and your amazing community of car aficionados?
So yeah, that's very easy. It's drivecoin.club. That's our website. You can find our merch there. We got the whole clothing line. There's a special release coming up. I believe in 2 weeks. I can't tell you that for sure. Depends on when this airs.
Soon enough.
And then discord.gg/drive. That's where we host our community. You can come in, you can say hi. We will help you set up everything on the Web3. And if you're coming from this podcast, let us know. Let us know. Just say, I just listened to the podcast. I'm a fan of Obie. I'm a fan of cars. I'm a fan of memory. You need to be a fan of all of us, or else You won't get any free drive, but I will send you some free drive. If you hate us, no drive. No. But I will get you set up. Our team will get you set up. We will watch Obie together. We will cheer him on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter. Just search for a giraffe with a nice crown at Gino Nagtegaal. And I will see you there.
Awesome. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure and an honor to share your journeys with my listeners, man. Totally appreciate you guys and wishing you much abundance, success, Gino, with your drive community. Obie, let's go to number one. The hell with that Bitcoin, bro. Let's do this, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys have been amazing. I'll see you guys, and we got to do this again, all right?
Perfect.
Take care.
This has been a Mojo for Musicians podcast. If you're a musician, industry professional, or a voice with a powerful message and wanting to share your mojo and stories of success with our listeners, or simply share some feedback on today's episode, we'd love to hear from you. So send us an email at info@mannycabo.com. And don't forget to join the Mojoverse on Discord for the most powerful community of voices in the metaverse at tinyurl/Mojo Official Discord. Thanks for listening.